Hey, First Christian. It is Tuesday morning. I was coming over here to do this update, and Samantha was like, "It's Tuesday. Why are you doing it on a Tuesday?" I said, "I could do an update on a Tuesday. I could do one on a Wednesday. I might do one tomorrow. I might do one on Thursday. I might skip tomorrow and do one on Thursday. I don't know. Keeps you on your toes. Keeps me on my toes. All right. So if you have not been to Sunday night Bible study, which starts at 6 Sunday nights, and we meet in the fellowship hall. Sometimes we have food, most of the time not, or sometimes not, but we're doing Bible, and so just a few weeks ago we started going through the book of Ephesians. So that's where we were at, and this past Sunday we did Ephesians chapter 3, and we started to do chapter 4. Didn't get very far in it because lots of discussions, but when we were in chapter 3, the question was asked after we'd already gone through it, and it was asking about one of these verses. And I want to go ahead and talk about that and share with you what the concern was or what the question was. So in chapter 3, starting in right around verse 10, well, actually, it does start in verse 10. It says, well, let's go back to verse 7. You can't just start in the middle of a paragraph. But it says, I became a servant of this gospel by the gift of God's grace given me through the working of his power. Although I am less than the least of all of the Lord's people, this grace was given to me to preach to the Gentiles the boundless riches of Christ, and to make plain to everyone the administration of this mystery, which for ages past kept hidden in God, who created all things. His intent was that now, through the church, the manifold wisdom of God should be made known to the rulers and the authorities of the heavenly realms. And so the question was asked, what are the authorities and so forth in the heavenly realms? And that caused some discussion, and I wanted to go back and look at a couple commentaries and find out what they were talking about, because it was assumed it was talking about angels. And so I went back, and one of them that I found said this, talking about verse 10, where it talked about through the wisdom of God should be made known to the rulers and authorities of the heavenly realms. That's that section. And the commentary said this. This was one of the things, among others, which God had his eye in revealing this mystery, that the good angels who have a preeminence in governing the kingdoms and principalities of the world, and who are endued with great power to execute the will of God on this earth. So he's making sure that not only, in my opinion, what he's making sure is that everything now is aligned together. So we have Christ, we have the Gentiles, we have the Jews, we have the angels, we have everything moving forward as one to share the gospel of Christ, to make sure that all of it are working together. So even the angels, bam, here's what we do. And so that's what he's talking about. Then we went into chapter 4, and in verse 8, it said this. Starting in verse 7, actually. It says, but to each one of us grace has been given as Christ apportioned it. That's why it says, when he ascended on high, he took many captives and gave gifts to his people. Now, so when you go back and you take a look at that, and it also referenced going back to Psalm 68, and David, of course, being a warrior and obviously a poet, was able to share with them, and the people would be able to see, what he was talking about, but this is what he was talking about. It says, as great conquerors, when they rode in their triumphal chariots, used to be attended with the most illustrious of their captives led in chains, and were wont to scatter the largest in bounty among the soldiers and other spectators in their triumph. So Christ, when he ascended into heaven as a triumphant conqueror, led captive in his train. It is a phrase in the Old Testament to signify a conquest over enemies, especially over such a formidable that led others captive. Captivity is here put for captives and signifies all our spiritual enemies who brought us into captivity before. So that led captives in his train is talking about our spiritual enemies. So he is leading because he's a conqueror, and he's leading his enemies behind him. That's pretty cool stuff. When we're doing these verse by verse, chapter by chapter studies, we do it in Sunday school, we do it at Sunday night. I'm not afraid to admit I don't know everything. As many times as I read the scriptures front and back, Genesis to Revelation, Genesis, Revelation, Genesis, I still don't know it all. And I still have to look, and I still have to study. I still have to read and read and read. Because I want us to all have spiritual growth. I want you to have spiritual growth. So you got to read. You got to read the books. You got to read Joshua this week, because that's what I'm preaching out of on Sunday, Joshua. You got to read Ephesians, because that's what I'm teaching about Sunday night. We're in 2 Kings in the morning. Read 2 Kings. Read for yourself. Read for yourself. Read for your spiritual growth. You know, we've got huge battles that are happening all over this country. Spiritual battles are happening all over the country. And he needs spiritually mature people to fight the battles. You can't get spiritually mature if you don't read. Coming to Sunday school will not grow you spiritually on your own. Coming to the worship service, singing songs, praying, taking communion, listening to a message won't make you spiritually strong. Coming to Sunday night, fellowshipping with other believers, eating food, not eating food, doing a Bible study will not make you spiritually strong. You will. When you read, when you pray, when you seek after him with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, when you come after him and you do it deliberately, that will make you spiritually strong. Great questions. I'll talk to you later. All right, love you guys. Love First Christian. Love what we're doing. Keep growing. All right, talk to you later. See you guys.